Well, hey there, I'm Ashley Reynolds. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this beautiful day for Scam School. Joining us this week is the one and only Pamela Hernandez with the Better Business Bureau, and we are talking all things graduation. So whether that be graduation scams, job scams, student loan scams, you name it. If you recently graduated or know someone who did, you want to know about all of these things. All right, joining us is the one and only Pamela Hernandez with the Better Business Bureau.
I love how you introduced me. Like, I never get introduced like that. That's amazing. Thank you.
And we're done. That's it. So
Good
just
night.
kidding. Hey, let's talk about this. Is so timely. I love this topic because it's graduation season. It's all the pomp and circumstance. And I got to tell you, except for my wedding day and giving birth to a child, my college graduation was probably it's up there as one of the best days of my life. I mean, it was incredible. I didn't walk across the stage. I ran across the stage. And yes, I was a part of the shot before walk activity as well. So but it was awesome. It was just a once in a lifetime experience that I'll never forget. What say you?
Oh, and it's such a huge milestone and it's a big transition in life. I mean, you talked about some other big milestones, right? Like graduating, kind of moving into that next phase of life is huge. And there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of transition, a lot of things maybe young adults haven't done before, which can make them vulnerable to scams.
Right, right. So let's go through the list. You want to start with job scams, perhaps?
Well, yes, that's a great place to start because that in 2025 across the board was the riskiest scam reported to BBB was job scams. And so when we talk about job scams, it can be anything from getting that random text message with some work from home opportunity to someone who reaches out to you on LinkedIn, acting as a recruiter, saying that they saw your information, they think you'd be perfect position. They may be after your money. They may be after your personal information. So it's so important to understand what some of those red flags are if you're out there in the job market, particularly if you're trying to get that first sort of real job outside of school.
And I mean, you have so much hope and promise, and you're excited, and scammers just want to snatch on that.
They do. And so it's important if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And so doing a little research can go a long way. So let's just say, for example, you're out on LinkedIn, you get a message from someone saying they're recruiting for a big company like Amazon. You're on LinkedIn, do some research about the person on the platform, see what kind of history you can find. If it's a big company, again, let's just say Amazon, the job is going to be posted on their website. So swing over there and look at what's out there to see if that job actually exists. Doing a little research can save you so much time and energy.
I'm really gutted emotionally from the whole experience. And um, I honestly don't know where else to go from here.
Melanie Bothell needs a job. She thought she found a work from home gig, but it was a bogus listing on Indeed.
And I have all of these documents. I mean, they sent everything looked perfectly legitimate.
She applied and had a remote interview.
Although I thought it was a little strange that they didn't even want to be on camera. No conversation like this. It was all text. It was all Teams.
Huh. Okay.
And she comes back and says, "You're hired." I'm like, really? It's like, okay.
She filled out her W-4, employment eligibility, and direct deposit paperwork. She was ready to start immediately, but was told she needed a MacBook, printer, and shredder. A stipend for her home office supplies was on the way.
And she said, "We're going to put money on your credit card." I'm like, "No, you're not. You can't put money on my credit card. Number one, we don't have a balance anyway. It would be a credit balance. You can't put money on a credit card." I'm like, "I'm not giving you my credit card." And that was it. I was done.
Remember, you should never have to pay when hired. Scammers sometimes will send you a check for home office equipment.
And of course, the check is fake. And now you're on the hook for that money when it overdrafts your account.
In this case, scammers pulled those documents from government websites. Swindlers often impersonate real companies to appear credible.
Make sure you have verified that the person who reached out to you is the legitimate HR contact. And if you have any doubts, find the company online and find the legitimate information for this company and ask them what their hiring process is.
Don't be desperate, because I'm desperate to get a job.
For On Your Side, I'm Ashley Reynolds.
She is everything.
Abigail Mead had her daughter Oakland 3 months ago. Childcare is expensive. Working from home would give her the flexibility her family needs. She thought she found a customer service representative job with BioTools Innovator. Here's her job offer letter. She'll make $34 an hour with bonuses and benefits. It's a 6-figure gig.
Well, I was skeptical about the whole thing, and I feel like I did the best I could to look into it because I know things like this happen. And never a million years do you think it's going to happen to you.
This is her first paycheck, $2,500. It's set in her bank account for a few days.
The money was in my account. I could use the money.
She was told to buy home office equipment, and that got tricky. She was instructed to buy Apple gift cards. Then
I ordered $2,500 worth of Apple products, a MacBook, workstation, phone, and sent it to their vendor.
Then that check bounced. She's out $2,500.
This is embarrassing for me to share, extremely.
Getting paid before you do any work is another big red flag of a scam, particularly if someone sends you a check and perhaps even asks for some of that check back. Maybe it was an overpayment or maybe it's for your trading.
And take another look at that check. It's from the Helling Children's Center in Texas. That's not BioTools Innovator in Los Angeles.
Scammers who are out there with employment type scams, they are often impersonating companies that we know and we're excited to work for. Go directly to the website. If that job is available, it's going to be on the website and you can find good contact information to verify that employment offer.
As for Abigail, she's still looking for work.
Now we are trying to get caught back up with our bills.
For On Your Side, I'm Ashley Reynolds. And make sure you're applying through the company's website. I mean, you would hate to give some critical information, personal information to the wrong person.
Oh, absolutely. And with a lot of companies, it's not unusual for them to use, say, third parties for the actual processing the application, but you will often start on their website and then go to that third party. So for example, Workaday or ADP are a couple of common ones. So you can find that again on the company's website, and then they may take you to another site. That's completely normal. It's when it's something that's completely non-affiliated with the company from the get-go that you really need to be cautious.
We've done so many stories through the years of someone thinking they were hired and then they even get a check in the mail. What could go wrong, Pamela?
Right? Money's in hand, except it's not. Checks, we like to think for the most part, they actually symbolize real money, but scammers love to use them. They love to take advantage of the fact that the banking system takes time. So if someone offers you a work from home position and they send you a check to buy office equipment or get the special software you need, or even as a bonus, don't pay out that money until you're absolutely sure that you've got a legitimate job offer and the check is legitimate. Work from home though, I hate to tell you, they are typically not going to buy your desk. They're not going to buy your computer. That's just not a thing. If they want you to work from home, if that's, I mean, that's very, it's not as common as it used to be. It's getting less common. Either you're going to use your own or they're going to give you the computer. They're going to send you the laptop that they want you to use. And some of that's security. They want to make sure that you're working on a locked down device so that you're not vulnerable to other types of scams. So just be really wary of anybody that starts sending you money and then ask you to send it on or buy supplies.
Right. I mean, when you get this list of directions with the check, it just, that's a red flag for sure. And I also want to point out too, my husband at one point had a job, there was a sign-on bonus, but he did not get that money until like after, I think he had to work 30 days in order to receive that bonus. So, I mean, every company could be different, but I thought that, you know, just putting it out there, because of course the sign says sign-on bonus, you know, that's the headline there, but you might have to work a couple shifts, maybe even 2 pay periods to get it.
Most offers have a fine print, right? And that's the same thing with a sign-on bonus. Yes, you're absolutely right. Typically speaking, they're going to want to make sure that you work out before they pay out on any kind of bonus. So somebody that sends you a check and say, by the way, here's your first week's pay and an extra bonus and use the rest to buy your computer, big red flag that you're involved in a job scam.
So one of the many reasons why grads go and get jobs after graduation is because they have student loans. But there's scams on that, right?
there are scams on that, and sometimes making sense out of who you pay, who you talk to, if you're eligible for any repayment programs, special repayment programs, it can get really confusing. So right out of the gate, make sure that everything is updated at your studentaid.gov account, your FSA ID. You would have probably established one of those when you filled out your federal financial aid forms online. Just make sure all your information is there. If you move, give them the right address. If you're changing email addresses, make sure everything is up to date. So if there is an issue, then your servicer knows how to contact you. And if you need something, you can log in and explore things like legitimate repayment plans or deferments if you need it.
And with all of this student forgiveness loans that's going on right now, this is probably going to be a hot market for them.
Renee Surge got this email from the so-called Student Loan Debt Department, which, by the way, does not exist. Moving on, it reads, you are eligible for forgiveness under the 2024 guidelines. She has a case number, and look at this. Her file remains open for only one more day. Yeah, right. Don't fall for that urgency. Renee thought, not so fast.
The address, the email address, didn't appear to be a business email address. It looks more of a personal Michael White. I don't know a Michael White.
White emailed her from a Hotmail address, not a loan servicer email. Here's the big thing, right? Do you have any student loans?
I don't. So that was the next clue that this is probably a scam.
It's what's called phishing, right? They're throwing out a line, casting a net, and see who bites.
The Better Business Bureau says don't get too excited.
Scammers love to capitalize on confusion, fear, uncertainty, and all of those things apply when it comes to federal student loans.
Experts say most people with federal student loans qualify for income-driven repayment plans. Options for these plans and applications are available at studentaid.gov. In some cases, borrowers will want to request a loan consolidation by June 30th. That's to qualify for the Biden administration's account adjustments. Bottom line, make sure you're on the correct website, and the process is free. If you get an email about it, check that from address.
It angers me because they prey on people who have big loans, who are eager to get them paid off, who are looking for some type of relief.
Something that I always think is a red flag, and you see this whether it's a scam or just a shady company, but they want you to pay these upfront fees, and it just doesn't, never do that, walk away.
No, walk away. Someone contacts you out of the blue with a repayment plan or a consolidation plan, and then they want you to pay to do that. You're absolutely right. Big red flag. Walk away from that. For a legitimate financial, federal financial student loans, repayment plans, they're not going to charge you anything. They're not going to charge you for deferment. They're not going to charge you any fees to do that. That's why it's so important to know studentaid.gov is your place to start. And if, again, somebody calls you, texts you, emails you out of the blue, that's something you want to really proceed with caution, because that could lead into some bad territory.
This was a long time ago, but I remember we interviewed a woman who signed up for a program, and I remember looking at her paperwork, and the pitch was, we'll shave off 30% of what you owe in student loans. And it was just too good to be true, but she jumped into it because she had so much debt.
And that is always when it sounds too good to be true, right? We talk about that all the time. And one of the things we know, scams can target anyone, doesn't matter what age group. But one of those things that makes a person more susceptible to losing money is already being in financial stress. And student loans can be a big source of financial stress for folks. So just being aware that that makes you vulnerable so that you can be more cautious, that when something sounds too good to be true, that you really take the time to investigate and ask those questions. There are different types of consolidation loans out there that aren't specific to student loans, but you still want to ask the questions about how they work and what those fees are.
Gosh, and man, any sort of program that you're signing up for, just do your due diligence and just Google them at least. Try to do some homework.
Do the homework. Look for if it's a company, see if they have a BBB business profile. go to BBB Scam Tracker, see what other people are saying. Just do a little bit of a deep dive. It really can save you a lot of time and headache.
Shall we move on to the movers scam? I mean, with it being summer season and gosh, it's already, I think it hit like 90 degrees yesterday. You know, it's just that time of the year. What was your face? Like, you're not liking the 90 degree?
I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready. It's too soon. No, I have to work into my summer, but you're absolutely right. It is prime moving season. So May is actually National Moving Month because it kicks off that busy time, whether it's people graduating and they're moving to the new job, they're moving back home, families who want to move in between school, getting out and starting in a new place. There's a lot of moving going on. And so it's really important to be careful with both moving scams and rental scams. We see those both. And doing your research, if you're going to hire someone to help you, now if you're a college grad and you're moving locally, maybe you can get some friends to do it instead. Sometimes that can work out when you haven't accumulated quite as much stuff, but maybe you're moving cross country for that new job and you need to hire professional movers to do the work. You want to make sure that you go in and get some references, you get a good estimate. Some professional movers, they will do some estimates over the phone, but you want to get anything in writing before you actually hire them. And ask for their credentials. You want to know about, for example, a cross-country move, if they have a Department of Transportation registration number, and then you can go verify that at the DOT website. And you want to ask about insurance. Whether you're moving across town or cross country, you want to know that your goods are insured.
Right. And you want to find out too, I mean, in the stories we've done, figure out if you're talking to like a broker or actual moving companies, you know, that are you talking to the middleman or are you talking to the company that's actually going to lift up your stuff and move it? We've interviewed customers who have received several different bills because they ended up working with several different companies and they didn't realize it until they got the invoice.
Yeah, when folks go looking online, trying to find somebody, those brokers come up, and that's all they are. They're brokering the deal, and they're passing that on to a third-party company or companies, depending on the job. And so you want to ask that question about who's really going to move your stuff, who's actually going to show up on the day of, and who you communicate during that process. You know, one of the things that we hear about, either it's people who never show up, they take the deposit, and they never are there for the move, or people who take the goods and then they hold it hostage because they say the price wasn't enough and they want more money. So really doing that research so you know who you're dealing with, what their reputation is, and then get everything in writing so you don't have a surprise at the end.
Man, this wasn't that long ago. We interviewed an elderly couple and they put the man's oxygen tank on the truck and it should have been with him. I mean, and of course, they believed and were told, they said that it would be there this afternoon. They were just moving from Kansas City to here in Springfield, so they didn't think anything of it. But I don't know, it didn't arrive when they were told.
Well, and even in I say the best of situations, a legitimate company, something can go wrong. So anything that you need, like medication, personal documents, things that are irreplaceable, valuables, those should never go on the moving truck, whether it's across town, across the state, across the country. You want to keep those with you because, like I said, even with the best intentions, something can happen. Just keep those things safe.
I'm supposed to be on oxygen like this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have real bad lungs from construction work.
It's a bulky, heavy machine, so it went in the moving truck. Raymond and Catherine Eaton thought his smaller, portable one would do fine for a 3-hour move from Independence. They hired Three Brothers Moving and Storage.
Three Brothers was the cheapest that I got. They said it would be $1,900 and some dollars. It wound up being like $3,000.
Three Brothers is a moving brokerage.
Was that clear to you?
No.
You hired Three Brothers thinking they were the moving company.
Yes.
Three Brothers assigned a company called Safeway to get the job done. A crew loaded up their stuff.
They told us to come on down here. They were going to eat lunch and come down.
Catherine and Raymond waited and waited.
We had to sleep on the floor, and he had to use his little oxygen thing.
That portable machine doesn't give him enough oxygen for a long period of time.
Well, I was worried to death because we wanted to go to the doctor, but we couldn't until he got here and unloaded. He had different excuses. He said there was an emergency, then he said there was a traffic tie-up, and he said he would be down at 9 o'clock, and he showed up like 1:30. He wouldn't give us the oxygen concentrator until we paid him. And we were screaming at him and carrying on, and so...
He thought I was gonna get up and take him. I was mad, I was hot.
And he demanded more than the Eatons anticipated. There was an additional cubic feet charge and diesel, making their total bill $2,950, $1,000 more than planned. Catherine paid him and took Raymond to urgent care.
I collapsed on top of the desk.
And he said, you need to go to emergency room right now. And I said, I'll take him. He said, no. He said he could die on the way. He said, I've already called an ambulance to come pick you up and take you.
He was in the hospital for nearly a week with respiratory failure and pneumonia. He blames the moving company.
I think they ought to have to give us our money back. I wish they had to give me a lot more. What is your life worth?
On Your Side repeatedly reached out to Safeway asking for an interview. A few days later, I got this email. There was no guaranteed direct delivery because the truck has a scheduled pickups and deliveries, and the customer is always asked by the broker not to ship anything that is time sensitive because many things can happen on the road, from breakdown, etc. When I called the broker, Three Brothers, the line was disconnected. The company has an F rating with the Better Business Bureau.
It's hard to maintain a good reputation when you're not being responsive.
There are more than 200 complaints. Most are unanswered about price confusion.
The estimate is kind of, goes by the wayside, and the price of the move doubles, triples, could even quadruple.
I wish I'd known about that.
Just going back, how do you go about researching a moving company?
Well, you can always ask for referrals. That can be a great place to start. Someone's used a moving company and has had a great result. BBB.org is a great place to go. The American Trucking Association is another place to check, and then verify whatever credentials that they give you, that DOT number, insurance, check all of that out, and ask for some references too, so you can do a little extra homework if you don't have that referral.
We talked about the moving scam, and you mentioned the renter scam. What's that all about?
Oh, you're looking for that apartment, and it's hard. It's hard right now to find an affordable rent. And unfortunately, this is one we see, particularly on Facebook, social media, advertisements. Someone has found a property and they put it up as their listing for a very, very, very low price to take that deposit and that first month's rent. And of course, someone tries to move in, and that property it's nobody's there to meet them. Nobody's there to let them in because they've been dealing with a scammer. So it's so important to, again, do your research. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If that rent is well below the neighborhood, the rest of the building, you want to be cautious and dive in and make sure you ask all the right questions, including who the actual owner is, which you can find online. A lot of that is public information. As well as taking a look maybe on, Google Photos. You can look at Google Earth photos and have someone see the property in person. If it's not you, someone you trust, actually go check it out before you even pay a deposit.
It seems like in this scam that when the scammer's posing as the landlord and the potential tenant says, I want to see it in person before I send you money or anything, it seems the scammer will always come back with a sob story excuse of why they cannot view the property in person.
Yes, consumers tell BBB that for whatever reason, the property manager's out of town, there's a family emergency, they keep putting off meeting someone in person. So if you can't get eyes on the actual apartment or house, that's a red flag that maybe that property just either doesn't exist or it doesn't belong to the person you've been talking to.
Yes. Well, hey, always a pleasure to see you. Appreciate you.
Always a great time.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you, Pamela.
Thanks.
Well, that does it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope you enjoyed Scam School, and I hope you always enjoy Scam School. We are taking a few more requests for in-person Scam School visits. So if you're involved with a civic group, church, what have you, I would love to come say hello and go over some of these scams in person. So just email me to make that happen. It's A Reynolds, so AREYNOLDS @ky3.com. I look forward to seeing you.